All right, I'm starting Advent of Code Day 9. I'm going to do it in C# today because I don't feel like writing F#. I'd rather focus on the problem. So let's do it. All right. Ride the camel through the sandstorm. What's it called? Mirage maintenance. Ride the camel through the sandstorm and stop where the ghost maps told you to stop. The sandstorm subsequently subsides. Someone seeing you standing on an oasis. The camel goes to get some water, and you stretch your neck. As you look up, you discover that what must be another giant floating island that is made of metal. That must be the parts to fix the sand machine. Where the parts to fix the sand machine comes from. Like reading's the hardest part here. There's even a hang glider, a partially buried in the sand here. Once the sun rises and heats the sand, you might be able to use the glider and the hot air to get up the metal island. While you wait for the sun to rise, you admire the oasis hidden here in the middle of the desert island. It must have a delicate ecosystem. You might as well take some ecological readings while you wait. Clearly. Maybe you can report any environmental instabilities you find to someone so the oasis can be around for the next sandstorm warn traveler. Okay. You pull out your handy oasis sand instability sensor and analyze your surroundings. The oasis produces a report of the many values and how they are changing over time. Your puzzle input. Each line in the report contains the history of a single value. For example, 0, 3, 9, 6, or 9. To best predict the oasis, your environmental report should include a prediction of the next value in each history. I'm guessing that'd be 18. Okay. To do this, start by making a new sequence from the difference of each step of your history. If that sequence is not all zeros, repeat this process using the sequence you just generated as the input sequence. Once all the values in your latest sequence are zeros, you can extrapolate what the next value of the original history would be. In the above data set, the first history is 0, 3, 9, 12, 15, because the values increase by each step. The next sequence is all threes. Then note that this sequence has one fewer value than the input sequence, because at each step it considers two numbers from the input. Since these values aren't all zero, repeat the process. The values differ by zero for each step, so the next sequence is all zeros. This means you have enough information to extrapolate the history. Visually, arrange them like this. Okay. You can then start by filling in the placeholders from the bottom up. A needs to be the result of increasing 3. So add the last number to the previous last number and you get 3. And then finally you can fill in B because you increase 15 by the value above it. Take 15, add the value above it, you get 18. So it seems like you just you do like a fold, taking this number plus the previous tail plus that number, get that number, and then you take the previous plus this number. Seems pretty simple. Yeah. Okay. So what do I need to do? So if you find the next value of each history in this example, add them together, you get 114. 68 plus 28 plus 18. Yeah. And what's the sum of this extrapolated? Okay. Let's just look at the input. Yeah, it's not a huge input, so they're not tons of values. Here, I guess these could go pretty. Okay, let me just interesting negatives too. It's neat. Okay, anyways, I'm going to make a new input file before I forget. Inputs day 09.text. Okay, and then let me copy the sample too. All right, so we got our sample, we got our input. List of int lines. I feel like I'm just going to start with longs. Nice thing about starting with longs, half the time I feel like there's a integer overflow error that you have to deal with otherwise. Parse input, which is a string, and I don't even need to. We'll say input.lines.select line line dot split on spaces, like alignment. No, spaces, and then dot select. No, sorry, this is a list of long. Int dot parse dot to list dot to list. Long dot parse. Okay, that's our parsing. Input equals parse input. Or I'll just call this lines. Lines equals parse input, and then just dump that out and return A, just to make sure we're doing this right. .NET run test last. Okay, so this should give us a just all the lines as arrays. So we got yep. Okay. So it seems like I just solve these one at a time and take the sum. So I'll make a function called next to value, which takes in a list of longs input. This is just going to be a recursive function, I think. Isn't it? Because aren't we just going to say so if they're all zeros, let me think through. So they're all zeros. Then you return 0 as the last number. Otherwise, you're going to return the so the differences are going to be input.pairs. I'll burn to one of these because I misread my pairs function. Yeah, so this is yield past comma future. So if I make a list of differences, which is the new list of differences, then I'm going to want to return the next value of the differences. Oh, so sorry. Next row value is going to equal the next value of the differences, and then I'm going to just say return input dot last plus next row value. That's it. So var predictions is going to be the lines dot select next value. To list and predictions dot dump, and then we'll return predictions dot sum dot toString. And let's see, this needs to take in sample A, call solve A, and I expect it to give us 114. Cool, that's right. Let's run that. Gold star, awesome. Part 2. Of course, it would be nice to have even more history included in the report. Surely it's safe to just extrapolate backward as well. Okay. For each history, repeat the process until the sequence of differences is entirely 0. Then, rather than adding a 0 to the end of the filling in the values, you must instead add a 0 to the beginning. This seems trivial, no? This is the same input, yeah. Expects 2, and we'll call solve B. I mean, I could probably refactor this to use the same function, but like assuming we had a previous value, you would just say take the and do first, call this no. Okay, let me read through this really quickly. So if they're all zeros, and then you take the, oh, subtract the previous value, right? Yeah. Cool. And I'm done. That was the fastest I've been to code. It's almost a letdown. I feel like I've spent a lot longer in other ones. Finish day 9. I don't know how long that took. Okay. Thank you. Bye, everyone.